here are her top 5 scorers in the WNBA. Napheesa Collier of the Minnesota Lynx, Jackie Young of the Las Vegas Aces, Marina Mabrey of the Connecticut Sky, Chelsea Gray also of the Aces, and Jewel Lloyd also of the Aces. God, there's a lot of talent on this team for us to be this bad. Jeez. All right. I don't know, man. Something about just, I don't know. Whatever.
I think that did just hit me, that 4 of the 5 are on Las Vegas.
God, jeez. All right. There's a lot to unpack here, but Martin, when you look at this list, what are some of your initial reactions here to Arike's top 5 scorers list here?
So I think it's important to also state that from the video, she clearly said, I can't remember if Sue asked her this way or if Arike worded it this way, but technically she said these are her 5 favorite scorers.
Yes.
Which, as we like to do here, is have that distinction as always. So I am curious if her list of who she thinks are the best scorers would be different.
Sure.
And I think it's fair to assume that, because I think her list of the best scorers would include herself. So by naming her favorite scorers, it was kind of a way for her to just give credit and flowers to 5 other people who she enjoys. And she even said, like, she was going by people when they get on a heater, like who's the most fun to operate when they get hot and when they get going. Yeah. And I think if she was just naming objectively the 5 best scorers, she would have to put herself on that list.
She'd have to.
But this was an interesting list, man. I think the 2 most interesting for me were Fee and Jackie Young. Fee is leading the league in scoring and has put everyone on notice of how versatile she is as a player and a scorer. So that doesn't surprise me as much. But still, when with Arike being a guard, like Chelsea Gray doesn't surprise me. Jewel Lloyd doesn't surprise me. Her and Jewel had that game where they went back and forth. They both had like 40. I think that was 2 seasons ago. So I'm not surprised that Jewel's on there. Chelsea's on there. Not that surprised about Marina Mabrey, because if you know, she is, I mean, no matter what you think about her, she is one of the hottest guns in the league. Like, she's just a flat out bucket. But yeah, Jackie Young is probably the most surprising to me. Jackie Young is the most surprising to me. Yeah, because I think she's had her moments, especially 2 years ago. I think she's shown us enough to show, like, and her scoring ability has improved greatly, especially with her shooting. But I feel like I could have seen another person in there besides Jackie. Like, I regard Jackie as more of a high level 2-way player than like a high level individual scorer.
Okay. I see.
You know what I mean?
I see what you're saying.
I think of Mabrey more as a scorer than Jackie.
I got you. Yes.
You know?
I understand what you're saying. I had to think about it.
No, Jackie can score the ball, but listen, I think of Ryan Howard more as a scorer.
Yeah.
Like scoring ability. I would prefer more. I think Ryan Howard has a little more scoring ability than a Jackie Young.
Yeah, sure. I'm picking up what you're putting down. I will tell you, Marina Mabrey being on the list is the one that's most surprising to me, just because when I think about scores, I don't know, maybe it's just the way that I just don't think of, like, if someone asked me to name scorers, like I would name a lot of players before Marina Mabrey. And I don't know if maybe it's because I'm not consuming enough Marina Mabrey basketball. That could be the problem. But I don't know, man. Like, when I think scores, I'm thinking like Arike, like Jewel Lloyd being on this list isn't surprising, because I mean, when we did our top 5 scores last time on the show, which is a while ago, before we came over to Basketball Society, Arike was both on our lists and both in our top 3s, I believe, as well at that time.
Yeah, sure.
And same for Jewel. So, like, I wasn't really all that surprised. And Napheesa, I understand. I understand Napheesa being on the list, right? Because as you and I have talked about so many times, you know, the way that she scores is very simple, right? Like, it doesn't take a lot for her to score,
right?
And I can see why that could translate to her being, you know, someone's favorite scorer, or flat out being top 5 in scoring. I mean, we talked about a couple weeks ago how she was the first player in WNBA history to lead the league in scoring whilst also averaging 50, 40, 90. So it's not that she's just scoring, but she's doing it at an all-time great efficient rate right now. So, like, I understand it. But the Marina Mabrey thing for me is, I don't know. And again, maybe it's because I'm just not super duper familiar with all the facets of Marina Mabrey's game. But like, Marina Mabrey for me would be on a list of like who are the best like shooters, or who are the best like 3-point shooter. Like that's kind of the bucket of basketball that I kind of put Marina Mabrey in, is like 3-point shooting, because she just went off a couple games ago for like 37 points or something that had like 6 or 7 threes. Like that's kind of more so where I attribute Marina Mabrey. Like when I'm thinking of scores, like when you say Jackie Young is surprising, like I get your point on, we think of her more as a two-way player than a scorer, and I do hear you on that. But but we've seen Jackie go off, for big games and do it in a multitude of different ways, whether it's 3-point shooting, driving to the basket, mid-range shots, off the dribble, like things of that nature. Like those are the types of things I think about when I think about scorers specifically. So that's why I think you sent it to me on Instagram, that's why my first thing was Marina Mabrey being on this is super shocking to me. It just kind of feels slightly out of place. But then again, I mean, you also look at the list too, and Jackie, Marina, and Jewel all went to Notre Dame, as did Arike. So like, there's also that part of it as well.
Sure.
So it's like you have to acknowledge there is probably a little bit of Notre Dame bias in there too, and maybe there is, maybe there isn't, but I would imagine that probably played a part. I don't know if
I think that's fair.
I don't know if Arike and Marina's paths crossed at Notre Dame. I think they did, maybe for a year, maybe for a year or two. I know obviously Jackie and Arike played together. They were on the same national championship team. They were in the same draft also as well. So I know that they played together. She didn't play with Jewel, obviously. I think maybe her paths crossed with Marina. So that's the other thing too. Like she has more up close experience with Marina Mabrey, given the fact that they might have played a year or two together at Notre Dame as well. But yeah, and then Chelsea Gray being on this list too is interesting.
So yeah, I was gonna say I think Chelsea Gray being on her list, it makes me think of what I would think of if I'm naming the best scorers or my favorite scorers, which is how many different ways can you get to a bucket? Like that's kind of where I go when I think of like the best scorer, meaning the best ability to in different spots on the floor, your ability to manufacture a bucket. And I think that's why I understand Marina Mabrey as opposed to, and I hear your point about Marina being kind of maybe more of a shooter than an overall scorer. However, she does more off the dribble than like a Kayla McBride, for instance, who is probably considered a little bit more of like a specialist shooter than a Marina Mabrey. Marina, I think, does a little bit more off the dribble, can foul bait a little bit, can get the in-between game. She's got a little floater game. So I think there are different elements to Marina in terms of not just her getting hot, but like the different kinds of shots she can get. Same thing with Chelsea Gray. I mean, Chelsea Gray, in order to be one of the top scorers, you do have to have, I don't want to say it, not necessarily a go-to move, but like a go-to spot. Even you hear people say like getting to your spots. Everyone knows the right elbow is Chelsea Gray's spot, and she gets to that spot and is deadly from there. So even now, even if she's not like in her prime, guarding Chelsea Gray one-on-one in terms of just creating a shot, she can get a lot of different kinds of shots. So that's where I was a little surprised by the Chelsea Gray, but like when you're a veteran like this and you've seen Chelsea do it so much and you just know that she can get to that spot and get to different spots and get to a bucket, that's why she's there. That's why it doesn't surprise me as much.
That's fair. Let's take a quick second to go back actually to that conversation when we last talked about who the top 5 scorers in the WNBA were. And then I would like for you to just give me your top 5 scorers in the WNBA right now.
I would say the one very distinct difference, and this kind of goes back to a conversation I think you and I had some time ago about Arike specifically is, and we also had the conversation about like Caitlin as well. There are some shots that like you wouldn't trust anyone else to take. Like for other people, it's a bad shot, but like for Arike, it's not. I like Arike is very much so like there are sometimes you're pulling up like, and she's pulling up shots, you're like, that's such a bad shot, but it's like, it's not a bad shot because it's her, right? But like I've also seen Kelsey Plum take that shot and want to like shoot myself because that's not her thing.
You know, I had to leave the Kelsey Plum thing.
No, you did. I know. You
know I had to leave that in there.
But it's the truth, bro. I'm not gonna lie to you. Then I told you, I went to a couple years ago on Divine Nine night. The Aces were here, and we lost that game to the Mystics, and I was watching Kelsey Plum take shots, and I wanted to shoot myself. Like, I'm just like, and again, like, I understand why. Like, we needed a bucket, and she's the bucket getter, but I'm just like, bro, like, can we?
Sure.
Okay.
I will say though, like Arike has a different, and I'm glad that you referenced that in that clip, and that you apparently you do pay attention to things that I say sometimes, but all good shots are not created equal. That's the philosophy. That's the thesis. All good shots are not created equal. What's a good shot for you may not be a good shot. What's a good shot for me may not be a good shot for you. And so in that analogy, I would be, as a Kelsey Plum fan, I can honestly and objectively say shots that Arike takes are not the kinds of, if you're saying Kelsey Plum take the kind of shots that Arike, no one except probably Caitlin is someone you could trust taking the kind of shots that Arike takes. I'll just leave
and
it
let
at
me
that.
just say, there is an exception to every rule. Every good shot for you is a bad shot for me, Martin. Let's just unless it's a layup. Let's just make that abundantly clear as well. I'm 6'2" of 220. I don't have the hand-eye coordination for basketball. So there's not a good shot that you could take that would also be good for me. But let's go. Let's go top 5 scores in the WNBA. Right now, Martin, who's on that list for you?
So honestly, bro, I kind of had a hard time with this. I was trying to have like a definitive top 5.
Okay.
And I think I have 4 that I know for sure are in my top 5. Okay. Objectively, I think I have my 5 favorite, but my just objective top 5 scores in the league right now, I struggle a little bit. So I have Fee in Asia, and I couldn't really decide on an order here, but I have Fee, I have Asia. I still think Asia is one of the top 2 or 3 scorers in the league. She's seeing way more double team and triple teams, and obviously people are focusing on her even more now, and she's still getting to her 20 a game. And even when you watch her operate mid post, 3-point line, doesn't do too much from the perimeter, but she's expanded her game off the dribble. She's even more mobile. And obviously her shooting, her mid-range shooting game, we know, is historically great. So I think Asia is still worthy of saying she's one of the top scorers in the league. Bro, I think right now we have to say Satu is a top 5 scorer. Right now, I'm like, right now I'm putting her as a top 5 scorer. Okay. As a dual forward who can go inside and out, shoot the 3 ball, go outside, go off the dribble, super strong, going to the basket, finishes inside, like legit 3 level player. And when I talk about, like, now she's not too like crafty and creative in terms of like off the dribble shot creation, like someone like an Arike, who I also have Arike still in my top 5. Like, she would probably be like 4 or 5. What knocks Arike is the efficiency. People go crazy on her like shot selection, but my thing is, you earn that type of shot selection based on the kind of scorer that you are. And when she's on and in rhythm, and when she gets it going, no one can guard her. That step back to the left, like, that's one of the deadliest offensive scoring moves of any individual player, because of the way she does it. It's like, it's very aggressive. It's like very violent. Caitlin goes more to like the touch step back off the toes. Like, I'd have to show it to you visually to really explain it. But Caitlin goes to what's become more popular, like kind of what you saw James Harden making more popular, with like the touch step back, the toe tap step back. Caitlin is really into that. Arike's is like violent. Like, she will snatch you, yank you, and then hit the twitchy step back on you. So like I talked about with like the go-to move or a go-to like movement or sequence, Arike certainly has that. And staying in front of her is still one of the toughest things like to do. So those are my 4 right now. I think Fee, Asia, Satu, and Arike. Those are 4 that I know for me are top 5 scorers right now with their ability to score the ball. That 5th one, I'm up in the air between like Kelsey Plum. I even had Marina's name down. I'm struggling. Like we have when I check, we have either 7 or 8 players, Marcus, right now averaging over 20, averaging at least 20 a game. And then there's like 3 to 5 players averaging like 19, like 19.8, 19 point. Caitlin's at 19.9 right now. I think Satu's at like 19.7 or something. Sure. So a lot of people are scoring the ball. Like Sabrina's averaging 20. The KP's averaging 20. Like, you know, there's a lot to pick from, but I like, you know, for me, I take scoring pretty seriously. So when I think about like just who's really the best at like when they have the ball in their hands, they are an immediate threat to score. I'm kind of struggling with that fifth person right now.
That's fair. It's even sitting here thinking about it, like, because we love making distinctions. Like, I'm just sitting here thinking, like, the players I would say are the top 5 scorers in the WNBA right now is even different from like the players who I think are when they're in that mode, the top 5 players. Like Jewel Lloyd, I think when she's in that mode, one of the 5 best scorers in the WNBA, but she's not.
She can't like objectively right now. She's not one
in
of
that
the
top 5 conversation.
Right. Agreed.
And so if we're going right now, I agree with you, Asia, Fee, Arike. You know, Alicia Gray, I think right now is a top 5 scorer.
Okay.
I like, and I've always been a fan of Alicia Gray, but just like something's been different this season, and we've talked about it a bit, just like the construction of the team, and like, you know, maybe there's a conversation needs to be had about whether she's the best pro on this team instead of Ryan Howard, but like the way, like, we know that she can shoot the lights out to win the 3-point contest last year. Like, we've always known that she could be a good 3-point shooter, but like she's even like being more impactful in the mid-range. She's even being more impactful off the dribble. She's being more impactful driving to the basket as well, and like not being afraid of like Alicia Gray. To me, I think if we're talking the 5 best scorers right now, she has to be in that conversation. And I'll even agree with you on Satu, but then again, I go back to, well, like, where does Stewie fall into all this?
Yeah, because she's another one averaging 20. She's another one. Her Fee and Asia are in the top 3 in scoring. Again,
and Stewie is
3, and she's averaging 20.
And Stewie, you know, is basically KD as far as like scoring is concerned, like the uniqueness of it. Like we've talked about that before as well. Like now there's a lot of things that Stewie can do that KD can't do, like on the defensive side of the ball. But just like the uniqueness in her ability to score, and like her length makes her so hard to stop. Like, is Stewie a top 5 scorer right now? I mean, you kind of have to say she is because she's top 3 in scoring per game. But I know as well, though, like, again, if I just take that list of who are at their best scorers, just no matter what's happening, everybody's. And just quick sidebar, when I say at their best, I don't mean prime. I mean at their best in the current context of their career right now. So like Stewie at her best right now is still one of the 5 best scorers in the WNBA, in my opinion.
I think so, but what I'll say quick on Stewie, I've kind of lost a little faith in her 3-point shot. I don't see her. Really? I don't see her as fluid. There's something about when she gets inside the 3-point line, I still think she's totally crafty, totally unpredictable, still has like different ways to manufacture a bucket. I don't see her as, I don't know if confident is the word, but just I don't see her 3-point shot as fluid. So even when the KD comparison that has rightfully come up over the years with Breanna Stewart, that loses some of its credence when she's not fluidly coming up. And not that she's got to be able to pull up off the dribble threes every game, but she doesn't. I don't see that. I don't see her from 3, and not to just make it about the threes, but it's just something I've noticed. Like she looks a little flat sometimes.
Okay.
You know, I don't see the 3 level, like
there's legit. There's a fluidity to Kevin Durant's game that you can't deny. Which is what drew the comparisons initially. I got you.
Yeah. And I mean, to be perfectly honest, Stewie is a little more awkward than fluid. Like her versatility is legit and rangy, and that's where you can do the KD comparison thing. But she's always kind of had that like kind of awkward, unorthodox bag to her, which is part of what you have to love about her. Like that's you know, she's got her smooth moments. She's got her, you know, she'll do something smooth, but sometimes it's a little quirky, a little off balance, a little not super sturdy, you know, especially now as she, you know, gets a little older. But that's the one thing. That's one reason why I didn't have Stewie in my top 5 scorers right now.
That's fair.
Like, yeah, she can still get a bucket. She still is one of the more versatile players, but all around players is where the Stewie conversation really heats up, and as opposed to, in my opinion, just the individual scoring conversation. If she was like that as a scorer right now, Marcus, real quick, she'd be able to lead the Liberty on a run without Jonquel. And I'm not looking to knock Stewie here. I'm just saying, like, if she were still in her, like, if she were in a scoring mode, and if her scoring bag was in a mode where she could be going for 30 kind of anytime she wants, now would be the time to show that she can do that with Jonquel out, because that's what she may be needing to do at times to keep the Liberty afloat.